In this particular question, you're asked to use linear regression to determine the function P, which is the profit function, in thousands of dollars, and X is the number of units sold in hundreds. Round your coefficients to the nearest tenth. So first of all, we have to come up with that profit function. Well, I'm gonna use my TI-83 plus to find that linear regression. It's kind of difficult to find that without at least having these graphed and seeing what this scatter plot will look like. But we can use our graphing utility to find this linear regression that we're looking for. So let me bring it back up here. Okay, so in order to get my points put in, I'm going to go to Stat. And you notice this edit is highlighted, which is what I want. So I'm going to hit Enter. And you have several lists here. So I'm going to have a list 1 and a list 2. List 1 will be my domain or my inputs or my X's. It's going to be my X's. And then L2 will be the Y values of our ordered pairs. So I'm going to put my list 1 in first. So I have 46, 48, 50, 52, and then 54. And then I'm going to arrow over to my L2 or my list 2, and 46, well, the Y value that goes with it is 505. And then the Y value that goes with 48 is 485. And then 450. And then 440. And 405. You want to make sure you have the ordered pairs correctly as they were given to us. So it's always good to double check just to make sure we have all the values in there. So it looks good. So I'm going to go back to Stat. This time I'm going to scroll over 1 to where it says Calc. And if you notice number 4 is linear regression or lin reg. Well, that's linear regression AX plus B. I'm going to scroll down to number 4. Hit Enter. Now at this point we have our data in L1 and L2, and this will automatically do L1 and L2 as we have them in. So I'm going to click Enter, and it will give you here's your linear regression format, and it gives you your A and your B. So there is our profit function is going to be negative 12.25x plus 1069.5. So that would be my profit function that we got from the calculator finding the linear regression line for us, or the line of best fit if we actually would graph this on the calculator. And then it asks us to find to the nearest tenth and interpret the x-intercept. Well, remember the x-intercept is where y equals 0. So I would have to let y equal 0. So our profit function is going to be this negative 12.25 x plus that 1069.5. If I can get it right. There we go. Okay, so that's our linear regression. And remember what X is, as it told us up here, it's the number of units sold. That's what my X is in hundreds. So that's my profit function. So P equals this. So my x-intercept means I let P equal 0. So I'm going to let P equal 0. And then we're going to solve this equation for x. So that means I'll subtract this 1069.5 from both sides. So negative 1069.5. And that's going to give me negative 1069.5 equals negative 12.25x. Then again, we're solving for x, so I'm going to divide by this negative 12.25 on both sides. And at this point, I'm going to bring my calculator back and let me clear, and we're going to do negative 1069.5 divided by negative 12.25. Enter, and it looks like I get 87.306.12245, and I think it said round to the nearest tenth, so I'd be looking at 87.3, it looks like. Again, there's your nearest tenth for this particular question, so that would be my x-intercept, which would be 87.3. And in order to find the y-intercept, that's where my x equals 0. So that one's not quite as bad. If I let this x equal 0, that leaves me with the 1069.5. And then you just have to figure out what do these mean. You know, you have a choice of you know, it's what does the x-intercept mean? And so if the y is 0, that's when the profit would be 0. So that means that's the amount of profit the company makes is 0, is when we let the y equal 0. They're not making any profit. And then when we let the x be 0, that's how much the company makes for selling 0 units. So they're not selling any units, so they're only going to make a certain amount of money if they don't sell anything for this particular whatever we're talking about here. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, let me know.